Thank you. When will our power return? That is the question for so many people who are demanding an answer to that this morning.
KPRC 2's Amy Davis live in the Heights. She's been covering this story the whole time. What's the latest, Amy?
Hey guys, we're looking at the latest numbers from CenterPoint's outage tracker, showing to be about 1.37 million people still in the greater Houston area without power, and that includes all of these homes that you see behind me here in the Houston Heights that don't have power. To get the latest information, we want to go live now. We're joined by Kenny Mercado, that's CenterPoint Energy's Vice President of Electric Utility. Mr. Mercado, thank you for joining us again today. We know that you guys are very busy. We know overnight, just from hearing from our viewers and looking at your outage tracker, that a couple of neighborhoods in Cypress came back on, homes that had been turned off yesterday morning. But then it looks like, by your own numbers, far more homes lost power. What was that about?
Yeah, Amy, we talked yesterday, and let me start there, if I may. We went through a pretty tough first night when a lot of units went down, more than we've ever experienced in our history. And those generators obviously are outside of our management. We don't own or operate those generators. We operate the grid. Yesterday, it started to be pretty flat. In other words, the load that we had curtailed and the generation stayed pretty constant throughout the day. We started to get a little optimism early yesterday evening, but that didn't last. And then in the evening time, we started to see a few more generating units trip, which required orders from ERCOT to us to reduce load. And so that's where we were last night. Now, in the middle of the evening last night, or later last night, we're still at a very delicate position where we have a significant amount of power out, a significant amount of generation out, and load that is out. And that is putting us in a very difficult situation to ensure that we're properly managing the grid and keeping it safe and stable. But last night, what we did is we tried to move around some of the customers, the ones that have been out the longest, and we know who they are. We tried to take them off and get them back on the system and replace them. It was just a trade-off. Replace them with somebody who has not been out of power, but do it in a well-designed way, not to create any risk. And the good news is we were able to get a larger percentage than we thought last night back on and make that trade-off. So some customers did get to see their power back on during the middle of the night. And then about 4 a.m., we had to stop. We were making good progress, but due to new units coming offline and some of them around the greater Houston area, we were then told to take more load off the system. So that's a challenge, and we did it. And we've been doing that in our automated technology system remotely. And that's where we are as of this morning. And so it was kind of, you're right, we did get some power back on, but then you did see some new load go down. But we're still trying our best to get more up and get more customers back on. As I sit here now, just a couple things I wanted to give you an update on. There is the indication that more generators are going to come on today. That's good news. Not all of them, but some, and some of them are big units. That will help us today. That will provide some benefit to us today. And so we'll take what we can get. And if we get some relief, we're going to go right back in, and we're going to get more customers who've been out for a long period of time. We're going to get them on as soon as we can throughout the day today if we get some relief.
Okay, and just to sort of repeat, but in different words so people are understanding, these generators that you're talking about are private companies that create electricity, that generate electricity. This has been the problem, sort of the problem that ERCOT has explained, is that a lot of those went down in the severe weather. They weren't generating enough electricity for the demand that we needed for that people were using their electricity. So more of those went down overnight after you guys thought, okay, we're going to be able to turn people on. That gets us to where we are today, and it kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask, if this electricity becomes available today and you can start turning more people back on, which is what ERCOT believes they're going to tell you guys you can do, you know who to turn on next. It will be, you'll go in order of the people who lost power first?
Yep, that is correct. We've got to do that. We're going to do it the same way. We're going to do it with our remote technology. And so, it's a circuit by circuit basis, or there could be 1,000 or so customers on a circuit, so they'll all get the benefit, get the lights back on. Here's the risk, and we saw that in some cases last night. We will do our best to keep them on, but if we get more demand during the day to take more power, because generation is going down and we have to take more load down, then there is a risk that we'd have to roll them back off. We're trying hard to prevent that, but that's still a risk right now. All
right. So, for example, this morning, some homes in Missouri City, about 1,000 homes in Missouri City lost power for the first time. Those folks would be the last to come back online.
Yeah. Now, I will say this also. Yesterday, we had to use remote automated technology because it is a dynamic and a very fast responding real-time system. So everything we do has got to be done in real time. Today, we're working manually confined. That's not managed by critical customers. And we will try our best manually to get more load from other areas that have not been affected in the first day. And if we can get some success there, that'll be a big benefit as well, and that'll help us relieve more customers. So we're going to keep working hard on that process today.
So then that sounds like we will, if possible, resume some of those rolling outages. So if you haven't lost power yet, there's still a possibility that you could lose power as you sort of take some of these other homes back online, if you're able to do that.
And the benefit is to get customers that have been off. Yes, that is correct. And try to make them as quick and safe as we can. That's right. Now, two other things I wanted to mention to you. One, as you said earlier, we don't own the generation. Texas is a deregulated market. We're regulated because we own the delivery system. And our system went through this storm, and it went through the storm very well. Our transmission system is 100% operating today. Our distribution system has a few repairs remaining, but it'll be 100% operating today. As generation comes back on, Amy, our system is ready to receive it, to deliver it, and to get it into the homes of our customers across the greater Houston area. So we're as ready as everybody, and we want to do our job to get the power to you as quickly and as safely as we can.
I do have a question about that, Mr. Mercado, but first I wanted to ask you about that downtown skyline. I know that you guys heard a lot of people talking about it, very upset that they could see here from the heights with homes with no power and look directly across I-10 and see the downtown skyline just lit up in empty office buildings and parking garages that haven't had anybody in there since last March. Had anybody been in touch with those businesses, and why was there even power to those in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, we do have accounts with customers in the commercial areas like downtown and then also all across Houston, Texas, and we've been in contact with them. We've asked them to conserve. You heard me say this yesterday. If you have an empty school or an empty office building, conserve, please. We need you to conserve. And we actually, overall, we got a lot of good feedback from conservation, and I would say, in big terms, the conservation efforts that occurred yesterday made a really big impact, and it helped avoid additional customer outages. Now, today, we're looking at manual ways. We're going to manually find ways to get into some of these bigger buildings. It's more complicated. You can't do it remotely, but we're going to go in manually, and we're going to start taking larger loads off to support the whole city of Houston. We're going to do what we can to do it safely. We won't compromise critical loads, but we will be in those areas. And if we continue down this path and we do not have the relief in generation, you will see a lot more bigger buildings without power moving forward.
Okay, and that is to say that you couldn't just shut off all of downtown, because there is critical infrastructure there that would have not made that a wise move.
I'll take you back to Hurricane Ike many years ago when we lost our entire grid in Houston, Texas. The only reason we kept the grids working is because we had the downtown grid and we had the Texas Medical Center. Those were the key links to keeping our system hot, and then we could build it all back. I think when you start taking loads of that size out, you really create a new risk around a domino effect, and we have to be very careful about it. So we're doing it today in a manual way. We're doing it on a one-by-one basis. We're studying it, and we think we can do it reliably. So if we need to, we will be there taking care of larger buildings where it's possible.
Okay. And then as a bigger picture issue, I know that, lawmakers are already talking about holding special hearings, and you sort of already touched on the fact that you don't own those generation plants. ERCOT manages the grid and then kind of tells you guys when to reduce power consumption or energy usage. What are your thoughts on how this was handled by ERCOT this time around? I mean, should there be some sort of change on, when these generation plants, were they prepared? How does CenterPoint think that ERCOT was prepared to handle this? How did this happen?
ERCOT and the Texas grid is unique, and I tend to think it's one of the best there is in the world because we have very affordable electricity. We have really good supply, a balanced supply of different sources of generation. We're growing wind, we're growing solar, it's cleaning up. We have to learn from what occurred in this event. I think you heard from the mayor earlier today that we're really good at summers because every summer is hotter than the previous summer. What's been going on, Amy, in the last few years is the winters have been warmer and warmer, and they really haven't been, addressed. And then 10 years ago, we had a really cold winter, and it discovered some issues. This time around, we've had a record cold winter, and it's clearly discovered some weak links, some areas that we need to do better. I think we can take the grid, we can listen to the mistakes that were made or the errors that are in place and clearly make this an opportunity and to build from it and take some best practice approaches and improve our processes. I do think that we can address this and keep our grid moving forward and still be very, very proud of it in the future.
All right, and that's bigger picture, back now closer to Houston and closer to home and these people without power. You're waiting any moment for an answer from ERCOT or word to say, go ahead, start turning on more people? Or at what point do you think that some of these homes that lost power yesterday will start to see
You're right. We are we're waiting on an answer from ERCOT. Keep in mind, they've got the whole state. They got every city, all the rural areas. They've got a large responsibility to watch the whole system. As generators that are owned by third parties come online, they have to ramp up, and then they have to get into our grid. There's a complexity there. As they go online and start to become steady state, that will be a big benefit, and we're thinking that some of that will occur by afternoon of today. Now, Amy, I don't sit here today and say that we're going to be through today. I just don't see it. We're going to need to be prepared for the rest of the day and into the night. And hopefully we will have ourselves back in pretty good shape in a day or two, but I still don't see enough generation coming online to take care of all of our needs.
So we're thinking possibly into Thursday, because it's about 42% of your customer base still. Is that number right? About 42% of all CenterPoint customers that are without power.
And we'll get the power on pretty quickly in most cases. It's just how long does the generation have to stabilize, ramp, and get into the system? That's the big question.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Mercado, I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming on and explaining those issues to us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Amy. Good luck today.
Thank you. All right, Owen, Lisa, so that is the latest word from CenterPoint Energy. He's hoping that the afternoon that they can start turning power back on to the homes that lost it first yesterday morning at about 1 a.m. We know some of those homes came back online in the Cypress area this morning, but they say they will go in order of homes that lost power first. Those will be the ones that will be brought back online first. And the homes that just lost power today, they will not get theirs turned on. They'll be sort of the last ones to get it back on, and that could be as late as he's saying Thursday. Owen, Lisa?
And Amy, it's something that I think about, and maybe we don't have any indication of this yet, but with regard to the power generation, if what the gentleman was saying is true, that the grid is fine, that there's just not enough power to be delivered. So we need to find out, right, what happened? Is this wind turbines that didn't fire up? Is this hydro that wasn't working because it was too cold? We're going to have to get to the bottom of that part of it.
Right, and sitting in on an ERCOT call yesterday, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, they said that when these power generators failed, these generation plants failed, they said it was of all fuel types. They said they were talking thermal dynamics, if I'm getting that right, and natural gas, maybe some coal, but also wind turbines that froze. We hear a lot of talk, we're seeing a lot of memes on social media that, it was only wind turbines that froze, and how's that working out for you now because we've got no electricity. They're saying it was a mix, but they didn't have exact numbers. And some reporters asked those questions. Well, like how many of the plants that failed were natural gas? But the thing is during the winter when Texas doesn't usually use as much energy, then these power generation plants sort of go dormant and close for the winter. Some of them because we don't usually use that much electricity. But at some point, it seems someone should have said, hey, you know, we're expecting a big freeze next week. Let's start gearing back up. And either they didn't do that fast enough, they didn't do that at all. And the generation plants that were still performing, some of those froze up or had issues in the severe weather. So yeah, getting all of that worked out before the next big freeze is what they're going to need to work on.
Yeah, because you're right. We do have a lot of practice with summers, obviously,
Right.
and this is certainly a little different. But you don't want to think that, oh yeah, it was just a turbine or or some busted water pipe that's somewhere that sent everybody into a tizzy. So we need to learn more. Well, thank you, Amy. Really great. We've really appreciated all your hard work on this story for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for clarifying, Amy. We appreciate
Thank you.
it. All right, a couple in their 70s died after being pulled from their burning home.
This happened last night at Mariosa Street and Peyton Street, Northeast Houston.